Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys we're going to talk about the 3 things that I wish Konami would do differently. They would just get off their butt, go do these things, I'd be happy, and I think many people will be happy about these changes if they came to the game. Though I am grateful for many of the things that Konami has done for us in the past. A good example was the Megatins. That was a very good idea that they came up with. We printing the sets from the previous year, making decks and staple deck cards more available to budget players, making it more available to the masses. That's a good thing, I feel like. But there are some things that I just wish they would change, and today we're going to go over the 3 things that I wish Konami would do differently. My third thing is I wish Konami would rotate the cards off the ban list and limited list a lot more often. Though I will admit they have been doing this more frequently because there are more ban lists a year, there are some cards on the ban list that I personally feel like could come off, and they have been power creeped to death. They're not as good as they once were, and they could easily come off the ban list and not affect the game very drastically. It's been shown in the OCG, and I believe it could still happen here in the TCG, and it wouldn't change things very drastically. So that's my third thing I wish Konami would do. My second thing I am very passionate about, that I wish Konami would just get off their butt and do this, and that is making OCG exclusives come here quickly, a lot more quickly, to the TCG. This is something I've been preaching since I don't know when, but there are many OCG decks out there that I want to play, but I have to wait for the OCG support to come over here. Heraldic Beast, Gagagas, the list goes on and on. Chronomalies. I mean, I could name off a whole bunch of decks that I wish they would have gotten their OCG support a year ago, but alas, I have to wait. And I wish Konami would just come up with a good idea where they make a set, just like they do with Gold Series, with Hidden Arsenal, something that they could make just a set that we get all the OCG exclusives, because the OCG, they get all our TCG exclusives at the end of the year, yet we have to wait a year or more than a year, or 2 years or 3 years sometimes even, for that OCG card to make its way over here. And it's really kind of annoying to some extent that, you know, when I eventually get the stuff, the deck is obsolete now. It's like, I had to wait a year to play this. You know, this deck would have been so good if I just had gotten it a year before. I think there's many decks like that that they didn't get their time in the sun just because of they didn't get their support fast enough, which is very sad, even though in the OCG they got it ages ago. So that's the one thing I wish Konami would just get up and do it. And hopefully one day they will get around to doing that. They seem to be changing their tune somewhat. My number 1 thing that I wish Konami would change their tune about is giving older decks and older archetypes newer and better support. Now, they have been doing this to some extent, but not all archetypes are created equally, and that is something we have to all admit here. Though I wish they would give new support to keep older decks, you know, they don't have to be broken, they don't have to become main meta, but just make them playable in today's game, is what I'm saying. Good examples I can name off of: Level Monsters, Crystal Beast. That would be really nice to see Crystal Beast support. I know everybody would like that, but Level Monsters, Crystal Beast, Toons, geez, I can name this, Scorpions, Fortune Ladies. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Now, granted, a lot of cards recently in the last year coming out of Primal Origins and things like that, and even out of Legendary Dragons of Legend, those sets did give support to older archetypes to some extent and made them more relevant than they once were. So that's a good thing. I think that's a step in the right direction, but I wish they would come out just like what they do with the OCG, you know, having their own OCG set come out, have like a set where they ask the community, you know, once a year we get to vote on, you know, a certain deck and say, hey, we would like support for Toons this year. And so Konami makes some good Toon support. Redoes the archetype maybe to make it more competitive to some extent. It doesn't have to be broken, just make it relevant and make good cards for it. And, you know, things like that. But, you know, the player base, they would bring in the player base. I think players will be more excited, say, you know, once we get to vote on our top 3 or top 2, you know, favorite archetypes we'd like to see support for. Konami makes a set out of it. Maybe they come up with some of their own ideas. I think it's a great idea, but alas, Konami has not done this. And I know, you have to keep in mind also, though Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of people play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh!, there is just as many casual players in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! As there are competitive players. And I think that would be a great thing to sell to casual players. I mean, they would love it. I would love it, even being a former competitive player. So those are my top 3 things that I wish Konami would do and change and get off their butt and go do these things. These are great ideas, I feel like. So what are your thoughts and what are your ideas? Do you like my ideas? Tell me some of your own ideas. I'd love to hear them down in the comments section. But till next time, guys, take care. Have fun dueling. Good luck dueling. And I look to hearing what some of your ideas are that Konami could do to make the game better. So till next time, I'll see you all. Seto Kaba. I'm out of here, guys. Till next time. Take care, everybody.